What's up, Wolverine fans? We're back with the heartbeat of Michigan football, Coach Thornblade, here to talk about the keys to winning a bye week. Penn State is the real deal, we found out, and how can we stop Altmaier on the in the air and on the ground? We watched Illinois play a barn burner to the end into overtime against Purdue. Coach, how do you? Where do we go from here? What do we got to do coming out of a bye week? What did you guys do? Or you never had bye weeks back in the day,
No,
but
we didn't have any.
what would
We,
Coach? What
we
do you
had
think,
11
Coach?
games. We had 11 games in the season.
Yeah,
And we did not play our first game till after Labor Day, typically when students were back at school. Now, of course, they started earlier. You made reference to Penn State. But maybe SC is not very good, Robbie.
yeah,
They have struggled. And I thought they could have won that game. Penn State, of course, prevailed. And they did it out there. So I don't take anything away from them, but I see great progress with that quarterback. But they have not arrived yet. Now, when we look at the conference, there's three teams that are undefeated, and they're at the top, and that's Indiana. And we have an interesting game this weekend. Indiana and Nebraska play. Nebraska's played great defense. We know that. Indiana's been scoring a lot of points. Oregon had that stunning upset or victory. I guess I'd call it a victory against Ohio State, where Ohio State moved the ball at will, but made some critical mistakes at the end of the game that cost them the victory as time ran out. And then you talked about Penn State. They're all 3-0. Now, I think if you have two losses, you're out. But there are six teams with one loss, including Illinois and including Michigan. So one of those teams will have two losses. With two losses, I do not think you will win the conference or play in the championship game. And if you don't do that, and Illinois only has one loss, if you don't play in the championship, you won't be in the CFP. And I don't think two losses will put you in the CFP. If you get in with the CFP with two losses, you'll have to have some signature victories and some some gravitas, some tradition. And so I think that
Coach, we
it's
got
still in our hands. Our fate is in our hands, and it is up to us. Now, I think, and I don't want to interrupt, Rob, I think that we're prepared mentally. I do want to mention that Ohio State has a loss. Ohio State will probably, if they go undefeated, and I hope they shall not, I hope we will beat them. They have Penn State yet. They will probably get a home game. You remember there's 12 teams that get in, six games. Some teams get byes, but six teams have home games.
yeah.
So Ohio State right now, they still project will get a home game if they go through the season unscathed. Iowa plays Michigan State, and I predict Michigan State's going to give them a battle, and if not win. I think they have some talent there. I think he lacks some personnel, but I think he's a good coach, and he'll devise a plan. And Iowa still is not a great offense. Now, they have a great defense, and they're the best rushing team in the conference. Wisconsin had a big victory, and I thought came into their own. I think that's the Wisconsin. They played like the Wisconsin we thought was going to be there. And so those are the teams right now that are in contention for the title. So our fate is in our hands, and it's a new season. We're halfway there. I think I like what the players said. The defensive backs are very upset with their play. I've read that, and they should be. They are underachieving, and I think the linebackers have played great. And I think we're really good against the run, but we haven't defended the pass well. One of the top teams in the country defending the run. Now
We're not tackling good in the open field. We're not We're not doing great in the secondary. Now we do some good stuff in man coverage, but then if the ball gets caught on us, we need to arrive to the ball carrier with bad intentions and get 11 men to the football.
I just feel like our man-to-man technique has not been great. I love the kids. I love our team. I love the kids. Everybody's great. Now we have new coaches, And, it takes a while to get the feel of that. And there's a new regime.
Well, and
That's
new
no
players,
excuse.
coach. New player. These guys are they've got a couple 4 or 5 games under their belt, but it's still, hey, this is Big Ten ball with a lot of good teams and good players we're playing each week.
Well, with 6 teams now, you're a veteran player if you've been playing.
Yeah,
You have 6 games under your belt.
yeah,
It's like when you haven't played a lot, you play the first couple games, you're a rookie. But now you're starting to get a feel for what's going on, and you played against Texas. You've faced a great team. You've had a disappointing defeat out at Washington. You had a wonderful victory over SC in Michigan Stadium, and then beat some other teams that weren't as talented. Now, as I look at this game, I think Michigan is more talented than Illinois. And Illinois is kind of facing a brand new team.
well,
Um,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, hopefully we come out of the bye week healthier. We
we
come
should.
out of we come out of the bye week a little more prepared. Our coaches, everybody doesn't understand. It is a sprint for the coaches. The second that the game is done, to uploading the film, to breaking down the next film, to having all your guys break down the games ahead. I really think that the bye week helped us at a great time, pivotal time, bringing in a new quarterback, which always brings life into your team. No matter who it is or what happens, there's always a new kind of a new spark because it's a new team, it's a new leadership. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how the bye week helped us. And like you said, it's going to be a new team with a new quarterback, and I think our coaches had time to reevaluate and work ahead. Obviously, get everything broken down. But I think we're going to see a little bit different brand of football on Saturday.
Well, I think it'll be a rebirth, reset, renew.
Yeah,
I think Tuttle gives us the best opportunity to win, the best chance to win. Now, Tuttle had those turnovers, and we've been plagued by interceptions and turnovers. Now one thing that Illinois does is they fumble. They
yeah.
have 8 fumbles, but they are +4 turnover margin. We continue to be -4. So
Well,
we've been a mistake turnover team. Each turnover to me is equivalent to 6 points or a touchdown.
yeah.
So you can ill afford to give a team a turnover, particularly on your side of the field, where you put them in a position to score.
Well, I think we're going to be able to rush the ball, and I think, Coach, we've been averaging 100 yards passing a game. It's pretty dismal. We're the worst in college football.
We're the last in the conference, 115 yards game, but that's okay.
100, yes, but I think that we will pass with Tuttle for a full game, getting in the groove. And coming out of the bye, he's got a lot of practice. I don't think he practiced much until he got thrown in that game because he was injured.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see us with the passing attack, which I think we can run the ball on these guys. After watching the Purdue game, there's some creases there up the middle. And I think we can get the edge, use our speed to get the edge on them and get some pullers out in open space and make some plays.
Well, the key to the game is that Altmaier's a pretty good quarterback, and he's completing a relatively high percentage. He's passing for 242 yards a game, and I think that their top runner now they're not playing against Purdue, the top back, and Fagan, I believe his name is, and he won't be. I do not think he'll be back. But if he is, their top 2 guys have run the ball for
McCray,
480 yards.
Josh
So they're
McCray.
a prolific rushing team. Now, Altmaier has rushed the ball for 90 yards. He's capable of running the ball, and we have to be cognizant of that. I like our linebackers. I like Hausman, and I like Barham. They close and they can run. Josiah Stewart gets better all the time. TJ Guy is becoming a force. I feel like those 2 big tackles inside are 2 of the best in the country, and they are thought of that by the pros. When I looked at now, one of the guys that the pros rate highly is Rod Moore, who is not in the lineup, but acts as our captain. And incidentally, I saw where they have several captains, but they just made Josiah Stewart a captain. And that's on the basis of the leadership he has shown after the adversity and the loss against Washington. So that's exciting and encouraging. And get another guy out there to lead that's taken on the mantle of leadership. That can only help.
Yeah.
You know what Graham said right after the game? We're not going to let this tear us apart. We're going to stick together. And if they do that, I think I counted 10. I think they have 3 guys that the pros are looking at. One is an offensive tackle. One is a linebacker, and then the other guy's the receiver, Franklin. But they're all rated on. We have several guys that the pros are looking at, but we have 9 that are, or 10, I believe, that are rated higher. I think their highest rated guy. Now, that doesn't mean anything. It's 199th, but they're not sitting on like guys that are going to be. They're talking about first round draft picks. So it's been a great coaching effort to get him here by Coach Bielema, who's a really sound coach. He's been around. He's been in the league, and then he went out and coached for Coach Belichick, and I think that made him better. He had been at Arkansas and left Wisconsin and been at Arkansas, and he came back, had a real good team a couple years ago, if you remember, with Brown and Witherspoon, the great defensive back, and we beat him in Michigan Stadium, I think, by a touchdown when Blake Corum got hurt. But this guy's a good coach. He's highly regarded. He's an old lineman out of Iowa.
Well, Coach, that's exactly what I was going to say. He likes the zone. If you remember, I mean, he can coach the shit out of zone blocking. Yeah, he can really coach zone blocking very well.
I don't know. It's a podcast.
but I'm telling you, man, if you watch what he did at Wisconsin and all the backs he had coming out of there, it's he runs inside outside zone, and now he has a quarterback he can run zone read with. We're going to really need to have our defensive ends and our linebackers be disciplined with all the movement we do, with all the blitzing we do. The guy, they need to know who has the dive guy and who has the quarterback, and then we have to have somebody that can arrive to the third option, which is the RPO guy. And if we stay disciplined, our DNs are flat down the line of scrimmage, and we know who we have on the zone read, I think we can stop it. But Altmaier is good. McCray is good.
Altmaier has thrown 1 interception, only 1. Now, they've fumbled 8 times.
Yeah.
So they've been careless with the ball.
Yeah.
But their defense has a lot of takeaways. So they have a kid who has 3 interceptions.
Yep.
So we got to win the turnover. Hey, we got to win the turnover battle. I mean, if we don't understand that now, we understand nothing from the results of the first 6 games. And that's the way football is. You cannot turn the ball over regularly and have a successful season. You can't do it. I think Tuttle's gave up 2, but they were kind of well earned. The guy punched the ball out. Now he's got to get down when he gets on those in traffic with those big guys. And then of course he threw the interception. But the guy had a great break on the ball.
Yeah.
I do look forward. There's Sharon was talking about one of our receivers. I wrote his name down here. It was a bigger guy who made I think he caught a 20-yard reception against Washington. Maury Walker, who's 6'3", and a bigger receiver. And Sharon made the comment that he's going to be, you'll see a lot more of him, and he anticipates that he could be a real factor. So that means he's looked good in practice. That means he's earned the confidence of the coaches, because we can't just look at Loveland. And that's what he does. That's what we've done. And who's
safety valve.
But they all know, we're gonna throw to him. I'll be disappointed if Illinois runs the ball on us consistently. Now we're going into Champaign, Illinois. They're 5-1.
Coach,
and they will be excited. They're 100 years of that stadium. Red Grange played in that stadium, I think. I don't know if you anybody. He was I don't remember, but he was a great historic, iconic player.
Well, they're rededicating the stadium. I don't know what it's about. I just heard this.
Yeah, well, they've redone it, I think, and it's 100 years down there. And we've been playing against Illinois for a lot of years, and mostly successful.
2 things I want to say to you, Coach. First ranked game in Memorial Stadium in 24 years. Michigan 24, Champaign, Illinois 22. So they're going to be rocking.
Illinois is ranked 22.
Yes, Illinois is ranked ahead of us, Coach. And I mean,
surprising. That Purdue thing, they were ahead 27-3. At halftime, and then they pretty much, they had to kick they had to make a kick at the end to put it in overtime, and then and then they Altmaier had to hit a long pass, like 28 yards to score, and then they came back, scored, and they went for two,
Oh,
and
they got it, and then they.
attacked them.
It,
So it was not, the first half they did great. They moved the ball all over, but the Purdue kids moved the ball. Now Purdue is right at the basement of the conference,
but
and not thought of as being a real stout team. So they had a win, and that win was apparently it was exciting when you win in overtime like that. You have a big
yeah,
play at the end to win it, but at the same token, most teams are beating Illinois. I mean, beating Purdue easily.
yeah. What are they?
So
They're 1-5 this year, I think, Coach.
yeah, they're
Um,
not. They're not. They don't have a real good team right now.
but one
And
thing I will point
of
out
course,
to
they
you,
beat Nebraska in overtime. That was their signature win, and then they lost to Penn State, who is a really good team. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to call them great yet. I like the quarterback. I see progress there, in
he's a.
the running backs.
It's
But
it takes
uh,
time. It takes time to do what Coach Rule's doing, and I think he's doing it correctly. But
oh, you're talking about the kid but I was talking about Penn
sorry.
State.
Oh, you're
But
talking.
yeah, I mean, that was a big win to beat Nebraska in overtime. Nebraska has a very stout and great defense, and they got that Riola kid, Dominic Riola's son, who was the number
Yeah,
one quarterback in the country,
you're talking.
and he's doing well. He's doing well and getting better every game, and is going to be a great player, no question about that.
But
So
back to the Illini, Coach. This is a big game for them too, also because they win this game. They're the bowl eligible the third time in the past 10 years. I mean,
well,
this is.
they're in the conference. They're in the
I
conference, Rob. They have a chance. They'll have one loss in the conference.
yeah
I talked about that earlier. They're 2-1, just like we are.
yeah
So the team that loses will have two losses, and they will be out. Then
yep
you will be playing for the best bowl game you can get to, because you will not be part of the college football playoff because you will not play in the championship game. I think the team that loses the championship team in the Big Ten will have a chance, maybe to get named. But as you look at around the country, it's hard to fit in there. You start to look at these 12 different. Pittsburgh's undefeated for well. I don't know what happened last weekend, but
Iowa State is gonna. Iowa State is making. They have one really big game kind of left, and they can make a run. Army and Navy, they.
Well, we'll see what happens there. But you have to be. I
I'm
mean,
just saying they're undefeated.
If Iowa State wins their championship of their league and goes undefeated, they're in.
Oh
They're
yeah,
in.
yeah.
It'd be hard, and now I hope we can get Ohio State, but it's hard for me. Oregon's going to be in. Now we're going to try to beat both of those. Now we have both those teams, which is going to be exciting. Those are two wonderful quarterbacks and two really good teams, and that was an exciting game to watch. It is interesting, and I talked about this last week, that the top quarterbacks in the league are all portal quarterbacks. Every one of them, the top 6 to 8. Then you go to Raiola, then you go to the kid at SC, and then you go to the Bozeman and the other, the kid from Minnesota. He's a portal quarterback. So these portal quarterbacks who come in with experience, and Tuttle is a portal quarterback, are making their mark felt in the league, and they're playing great football, and they're leading their teams to successful years. So I think it's going to be
Miami. Don't forget about Miami, Florida, too, Coach.
Miami, Florida's undefeated.
They're playing ball right now.
I think they won a close one last week. But there's a lot of teams out there that are making their bid. Alabama, of course, has a loss of Vanderbilt, but if they get through the rest of the schedule, and I have not looked at their schedule, they'll be in. Be interesting to see what happens with Georgia. LSU is back. Notre Dame is back. So
they're they were all thought to be.
Teams.
They lost one game and everybody wrote them off. And now a lot of football's happened and now LSU's back, Notre Dame's back, just like you said. It's going to be a hunt for this 12 team, and I'm excited to see it.
A lot of it, Rob, is not how you start; it's how you finish.
Yep.
So these teams that stumble in the beginning have a chance to redeem themselves.
Well, that's what Saban called Kirby Smart and said, "This might be the best thing that ever happened to you." He said, "You're going to learn more and coach more off this." When they lost to Alabama, he's talking to him. He said, I got more out of my guys after last year when we lost that early game against Texas than I ever have before. He said, I had so much more improvement on that team than my undefeated teams because you have stuff to look at. You have teaching tape. You're done reading your own articles.
Uh, Everything now. Then they turned around and gave up a ton of points to Mississippi State. I might mention that at Georgia. So after that loss, they maybe didn't rebound the way that
Well,
Saban.
neither did Alabama rebound after Vanderbilt.
They barely beat Carolina. I got to beat South Carolina. I mean,
situational football. If you are a coach, go YouTube the last 5 minutes of Alabama, South Carolina, and go YouTube the last 5 minutes of Ohio State, Oregon. Situational football, you can watch that, and you can learn stuff that you'll use for the next 20 years of your career as a coach.
Well, I know this. You have to have great clock management, and Ohio State did not. That cost them the game.
Yeah,
because they moved the ball that well the entire game. Now, so did Oregon, and I love that quarterback. What a player he is, and they have some really good players, and we'll see them in a week or so.
I didn't know he was such a shorter guy. I didn't.
Yeah, he's 5'11".
Yeah, but he played big. He played big in that game.
Well, he moves around the pocket. He finds the seam. He gets it. He has great. Some guys can see. Tom Brady could see the field.
Yeah.
Some guys can see the field. Some guys cannot. It's almost it's a genetic trait almost. It's peripheral vision. And some guys can process information quickly and then activate the appropriate task or get to the right receiver, make the right choice. So he made good choices, and he can run. And he ran that ball in at the end to score the last touchdown to beat Ohio State. But that game is over. The big game now, the biggest game in the country, is Michigan, Illinois.
Amen.
And I think we're going to be more creative on offense with Tuttle. I think we have more latitude. And I told you how I felt. You put a package in for Orgy, and this is your package. You're going to run the ball, and then we're also going to throw it with you when they gang up. And then Davis Warren. If Tuttle goes down, you're in, and you're going to take us to the championship, period. That's how we're doing it. And I think you'll see some other changes. Apparently, they're going to play this Mari Walker and get him going in the game.
He's good.
With the receivers. Our running backs have played great. Mullings and Donovan Edwards have been up to the task and done a great job. So, I'm optimistic. We have, just by virtue of what I told you about how the pros are looking at it. Now, you got to go out and field and win. They can tell you you're going to be the greatest pro in the world. But you got to go out and execute your technique and play with resolve and tenaciously and with perseverance to win. But I think if we do that, we have enough ammunition. And I told you how I feel about those tackles. What a pleasure it is to watch Mason Graham and Grant play football. It's a gift that they are giving us, and we should embrace that. Because this is their last season with us. And then to watch TJ Guy and these guys come along. And the two linebackers, Rob, I think have played well. They close, boy. They've tackled close. Hausman's really coming on.
Oh, yeah.
And Barnum, they, feel is going to be a great pro, has great potential. So I think we have the players there. So we got to now the coaches got to do their part. They got to make the right calls. They got to get us in the right position to win. We can't be careless. We got to blitz at appropriate times. We got to get home when we blitz, but then we got to cover. If we don't get home, we got to be covering their receivers, and we got to be on them. You can't back off guys and blitz. You got to be man to man, bump and run, and you got to cover them. You got to cut the field off. I talked about how you cut the ring off. We got to rush to the thrower's arm, and we got to hit the quarterbacks. I will be disappointed if they run the ball on us. I do not think they can. If we can shut off the run and we can make them one-dimensional, I think that's our great advantage, because I think Michigan, for the first time this season, is going to have a two-dimensional offense, and I think it's going to be more creative than the offenses we have seen. And I think the line is coming on, getting better, and certainly Loveland's a great player. We need a couple receivers to distinguish themselves and to step up, and the quarterback not to turn the ball over. No interceptions. None, please. No interceptions. Don't do it. Can't do it. You can't do it. It kills you. It just kills you. Turning the ball over. Keep the ball. It's a precious commodity.
That's the only reason we won the USC game, Coach. is we didn't
Yeah.
have turnovers. If we would have had turnovers, we would have lost that game. No doubt in my mind. So I
And we
mean
have a wonderful kicker. Our special
that
teams made some great plays, but they've given up some big plays. So
they
we
have a
got to
pretty good
be
kicker too.
good. Yeah, well, their net punt is 39.6. Our net punt is 37.5. That's not good enough. You got to be 38-yard net punt. That's the punt. That's that's the punt after the return. So we got to be better at that. We got to cover. We can't let the thing happen to us in Minnesota that happened to us. I can't have a return. We can't allow a big return, and that's what's hurt our average. That's where our net punt is way down comparatively. Last year, we were always 42%. Last year, uh, consistently for the last 5 years under Jim Harbaugh, we have rushed the ball 55% of the time and passed it 45% of the time. So I expect that same kind of balance.
Yeah.
And I think Tuttle can run the ball effectively, but he's got to hold on to it, get down, and not worry about running people over, and take care of the ball. Now they call him, what do they call him, Uncle Jack, I think, because he's in his 7th year, and some of these kids were probably in 9th grade when he first went to college. So, but they're all coalescing around him. It sounds like. I heard him talk. He's got a great attitude. He's anxious to do this. He feels strongly about the university. He wants to lead us to a great season. And now is the start. We got to win this game. This is essential.
You know who kind of reminds me of? Jake Rudock a little bit.
Well, Jake was good.
Very
Jake
similar.
did a nice job, and Jake was good enough to play a few years of pro football, and a really nice young man,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
So Tuttle, has been around, been around a lot, and he. I think I just feel optimistic. Last week when he came in and when he started to move the ball, when they were able to pass and make some plays, it felt like a burden was taken off my shoulders, and probably all Michigan fans.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I think we can get it done. So we got to win this game. We have to win. This is a critical game.
I am excited. Like you said, special teams is going to be huge. Couple guys on Illinois. I'm excited to see how the coaching staffs match up and the chess match. A couple guys on Illinois staff I worked with closely when I was a coach. Their special teams coordinator and tight ends coach Robbie Disher was at Toledo when I was coaching. Great guy, really good technically and scheme wise for special teams. And I know he has a good kicker. His punt probably could be better. And then Corey Parker was the head coach at River Rouge. He played for Eastern Michigan.
Really great.
He's the DB coach. He played at Eastern Michigan, led River Rouge to an undefeated season state championship, went to Toledo, took them to a couple MAC championships, and also he put a guy in the first round. That Toledo cornerback was his recruit, his guy. So Corey Parker from River Rouge, unbelievable guy.
Kid from Martin Luther King.
Yeah, exactly. Same kid.
Well, that's great. They have young coaches, and they have a really good coach. The head coach is good. He's good. He is sound as a dollar. He's a tough guy. His teams play physical. But I expect Michigan to be who they are.
Yep.
And that is the most physical team in this conference. Ohio State, if they've improved at anything, is they're more physical on offense. And that's showing. It's a big improvement. But we got to beat Illinois. And as always, we got to get the first down, and then we got to get the first stop. And then we go from there. And we play mistake-free football. No dumb penalties, no turnovers, no missed assignments. Win the kicking game. And for God's sake, win the turnover battle. I guess I've mentioned that 20 times. But we can't be -4. That's why we are where we are right now.
Well, I think our secondary is going to change that over. But with Minnesota game, we saw some turnovers. I heard Will Johnson talk about it. He is not happy with our defensive back play all around. He's taken ownership. When your leader takes ownership like that, and he says, hey, we're not going to play like that anymore. Now, Washington had a hell of a receiver in that Boston kid. But now so does Illinois in this guy, Pat Bryant. The guy
he made the big
7
play.
touchdowns. He's catching he getting open all over the place. Last game he single-handedly kind of brought him back when they looked like Purdue was going to win the game. I mean, Pat Bryant, we're really going to have to stick that guy. They got a couple others.
I'm going to tell you, here's what it is. you cover. You play great technique and you cover.
Yeah.
That's it. If you can't cover, the next man up. Get a guy in there that can do it. Now teach them technique, play the right way, cover the guys, tackle. When you tackle, run through the man.
Yeah.
Open field tackling is it's essential. It's an art form, and be a great open field tackler. But get it done. Now they play hard. These kids play hard, but they have played, in my estimation, with some poor technique. So let's play it correctly and cover them.
Well, I wonder what.
Get them get in their face.
Well, that's you talking like that. Well, I wonder what Jack Harbaugh would say. I wonder what Moeller would say. I wonder what Lloyd Carr would say. These are all defensive back coaches that you coached with back in the day. I wonder what he would do if he had the talent and he had a really what he would tell those guys if they.
Well, we've had great talent now. These guys coach when they coached at Michigan, they had talent, and they have coached a lot of great players, a lot of All-Americans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it's a matter of pride. You do not get beat.
Yep.
You do not get beat in a situation that costs your team a game. You do not allow them to get big plays against you. You take pride in that, and these kids have the ability to do it. We lost more, but some of these guys are coming on, and they got to play great football, and they're capable of it, and they're willing. And they're tough kids that play. I think they play with good enthusiasm and they play hard, but technique back there. Technique.
Well, like you said,
you can't jump on the double move. You got to, it's pattern recognition. That's all studied. This is really important stuff. Yeah,
you got to play with your eyes, and when we're playing man technique, we got to be looking. We can't be looking back. We got to be looking at our man, and then finding the ball in the air.
And cut the field off, and don't let them run. Don't give them a two-way go. Cut the field off. Push them to the sideline, and where the guy's got to make a good throw. Now, one thing Omar will do, Rob, is he's good. He's capable of back shoulder throws.
Yeah, he pumps and he throws that back shoulder.
He throws back shoulder.
Yeah.
He throws back shoulder, particularly on deep plays. So he'll throw it right at the back of the defender, and then the receiver will jump off his back and try to make the play. So we got a lot that's pretty exciting. Big Ten, we're right in the middle of the season. Michigan has an opportunity to get going. Let's get going now.
Yep.
Let's keep going. Let's forget about these things that have happened in the past. So that's it's not what happens in the past. What we're going to do forward. Let's stay in the present. Let's move forward. Let's play together. Let's play together. Let's be excited to play. Let's have some fun. That's everybody in the program has to be at their best. Be at your best.
We still got great.
Yeah, we're going to be okay.
Well, everybody's, you lose a couple games and everybody's up in arms. We still have great players. Everyone, we should have spent money on LA. We should have transfer portal. We spent $13 million on our own team, on the great players that we got. And they got to I think they're going to show up and play. I think that there's a reason you said everybody's catching fire. They're catching on. They call it mid-season form for a reason. We're hitting mid-season form at mid-season. So we're right there, but we can't falter. We can't make any mistakes. And that starts with, attention to detail, not turning the ball over, and, playing for Michigan 4 quarters of football. If we got to beat Illinois, we have to play 4 quarters, Coach, till the last second.
No question. No question. Because Illinois is not going to, they're going to be excited down there in Champaign.
Oh, yeah.
Hope we have good weather. They're going to have a great crowd. And there's excitement for the team. Bielema's got them going. They could, they won that game at the end there, which excited people. And so we got to go out there and punch them right away. Let them know Michigan's here. We're here to win.
Yep.
Take care of the ball. Take care of the ball. Be who we are. Play together. Be Michigan. We are better. We have more in our arsenal. We have better players right now, I think, than they do.
Oh, yeah. I think we're going to run it. I think we're going to run it all over these guys, Coach. I know they're only losses to Penn State, but now if we can pass a little bit, and I'm not saying we got to light it up for 300 yards. I'm just saying if we have a threat for pass, I think we're going to be able to run the ball.
I'd like to see us throw for 150 to 175, and then rush for 225, and that adds up to like 400 yards total offense. If we do that, we'll be fine. And then our defense has to play, mistake-free in the back. Can't let them have big plays. Don't let them get big chunks of yardage with big receptions. Make them earn it. Make them go the long way. Their best running backs out. They have not been a really good rushing team so far. So we got to shut their run off, force them in give them bad plays on first down, force them into passing situations.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely, Coach. I mean, keys to victory, like you said, don't turn the ball over. I think you said that 100 times today. Play great defense, or ride to the ball carrier with bad intentions, gang tackle, and then let's get 400 yards of total offense. Let's get this thing going. I'm excited to see the coaching battle. I think Sharon Moore's great versus Bielema. Yeah, Coach, I'm go blue. I'm excited. You got anything else for us? Heading down to Champaign.
Nope.
We
This
might
is
be taking the bus. We're not flying. We're taking
I
the
don't think
bus.
so. I think they're flying in first class, which they should. Now
Yeah,
let's get going. But let's forget about all that stuff. Totally focused on Illinois being at your best. Technique, execute your technique, open field tackle, all the things we just talked about. But be Michigan. Know that this is a critical game. Now, we've won 3 Big Ten championships in a row. Not many teams have done that historically. Only Ohio State and Michigan. Minnesota, way back before World War II, had some great teams that won 4 in a row. That's it. Those are the only teams that have ever done that. So, we're accustomed to winning. We have a winning culture. We are the winningest team in the history of college football with over 1,000 victories. No one else has that. No one is close. So let's go be who we are. Let's be Michigan. Let's win.
go blue. Thanks, Coach.